Hello. Happy Thursday. I am Tiana Nichelle, and I am a serial entrepreneur, empowerment coach. I have a nonprofit organization, Empower Society, a mobile app, which is a directory of services and resources for individuals with disabilities. I send out daily inspirational messages every morning. Connecting families of children with disabilities to resources is what I do as well, on top of many other things. And having these conversations every week. This week, the conversation is the weight you carry is the weight you carry. What do I mean by that? So, did you know? Okay, so let me start off. Yesterday, I decided to post my weight loss journey. I was going to wait till I hit my next milestone, but several people, including a doctor, naturopathic doctor, was like, you need to share this. And so I felt like I wasn't ready because I was waiting to hit my next milestone. But when I woke up yesterday morning, God prompted me to go ahead and post it. And so I gave a little context about it. But it's been a journey, y'all. So I will say this. From last year to this year, I lost 82 pounds from my highest weight to now 117. So I've been working. Me and God, this has been a me and God journey. But what I realized along the way is that it's really a symptom of a much bigger problem, because there was a lot of things that I was dealing with, and I talked about going and getting healed and all of this different stuff. And this is what a lot of people struggle with. I've talked to other people who deal with issues with their weight, and they have things that they have internalized, different issues that they have experienced from childhood to now that has contributed to their weight. And so the weight that you carry is really a symptom of a much bigger problem. It's actually what's going on with you internally. And when you don't address those things, and you use eating as a coping mechanism, which many people, comfort food just didn't come out of thin air. Like, comfort food is really a thing. But when you use that as a tool to make you feel better, and now it becomes a thing that you do consistently, then you have developed a habit of doing this every time something happens. So that's why you wind up gaining weight, because the way that you are coping with whatever the issues are is by, eating your feelings. I will admit, I've been an emotional eater my whole life. Something go left, I'm like, where's the chips? So, but I've learned how to do things in other ways, where if something happens, now I just take it in prayer. I don't even think about like eating anything. I'll just be like, okay, God, let me pray about it. So my method is totally different from before, but everybody's method is different. Now, here's the thing. I'm talking about weight, but there are people who internalize a lot of things, and it comes out in drug addictions and things that you can't see, sex addictions, and all of this different stuff. So this is just a conversation about weight, but also carrying a lot on your plate, literally, like carrying a big load on your shoulders, which helps contribute to your weight. So the internal struggles could be taking on a lot of responsibilities, childhood trauma, things that has happened in your adulthood, abuse, rejection, feelings of inadequacy or not being accepted, family issues, things that turn into people pleasing. So now you're putting everyone before you. Lack of self love or receiving love, life changes like death, divorce, and then relationships around you ending. So those are some of the internal struggles that a lot of people deal with. And like I said, people that I have talked to, and I know that I went through some things. But and we gonna get into it. We really gonna get into it. So also, did you know that the weight that you carry mentally and physically shows up in the forms of disease? And it's because your body's at dis-ease, like it's screaming for help. So you wonder why you have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all these different ailments, aches and pains, always having headaches and, chronic inflammation. That is your body's way of screaming for help. So a lot of times we'll go to doctors and they'll prescribe something, but you're still not better because of what's happening in your head, your heart, and your emotions. They can't cure that. Once you decide to get healed from whatever it is that you've experienced, that is when you become happier, you become more fulfilled, and then a lot of the times you will desire to address your weight or physical health. Like, that's usually the turning point for a lot of people once they deal with what's going on with them internally. So, and then the other part that I found out through this journey is that your weight can also be like weight gain or being what they would call morbidly obese, or obese, whatever. It could be due to your hormones being imbalanced or issues with your metabolism. And we're going to talk about that as well. So, going back to the internal struggle. So, like I was saying yesterday, I went ahead and posted it. And I've dealt with weight my whole life, like many people. Many people. And so this is not my first go around with losing weight. Like, I did this before in 2015. I didn't get this small, but I got down. And at that time, I was doing it because I was graduating with a master's. I wanted to look good for graduation. And it wasn't necessarily for health reasons, but I worked out, whatever. And I got down. And it didn't really take me that long because I was working out like 2 to 3 times a day. So it just melted. But I gained it back. And I really believe because I was still, you talking about 2015, I was still dealing with some things internally that, I was still like, I was going through some stuff still mentally. So I was kind of struggling with that. So I wound up gaining weight. And like many, you eating your feelings, you going out, you not paying attention, and before you know it, you done gain all the way back that you done lost, child. Whew. So, here we are. Fast forward, last year, I decided to get intentional. But here's the thing. For the past few years, I've been going through a whole healing journey. And this is what I was talking about. Once you get intentional about your healing, then, and that's your emotions, your heart, your mind, dealing with issues, tackling stuff that you actually been through. And for me, I went through, child, life was really life-in. And I'm telling this story, and I'm sharing this this whole journey because I know that this is to help somebody else. And I kind of, like I said, I kind of wanted to wait. And people were even telling me like they was inspired. Like I got inbox messages, people telling me that they were inspired by my story. And yeah, so I really wanted to share this because I know that there's so many people that, like, there's so many people that struggle with their weight, like, and been struggling since they was a kid. And the world has made you think that it's just because what skinny people don't know is if you naturally thin, your metabolism is like this. Your metabolism is like, and a big person, or especially when you're kids. We gonna start off with the kids because this is the perfect example. Growing up, like, my mom had me on because I was chunky as a kid, but when I look back at my pictures, like, I wasn't that big. I'm like, these kids are twice my size now. What in the heck? But for that time, you talking about the 80s, everybody was so tiny and little. So I was a little bit chunkier. So my mom limited, like, I couldn't do sweet cereals and snacks and candy and stuff like that. But my cousins could. They was really little. And, you know, of course I was upset because I didn't understand why I couldn't eat the snacks like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted some tater chips, you know. But they would be able to eat the snacks, and I was eating the meals, and I'm gaining weight, and they staying little. And here's the thing. What I found out through this journey is that my metabolism, baby, was on the flow. So, meaning my metabolism was zero. I actually, when I went to the weight loss doctor, when I started this journey a year ago, I went to a weight loss doctor and I went for a series of tests, got a whole lot of tests done. And come to find out, my metabolism was like a slug, okay? And so he was like, this is why you can't lose weight. And I'm like, well, I lost it before. I was working out. And so he was like, but it's taking you a little bit longer. And I was like, yeah, I've always struggled with weight. And so he was like, well, he broke it down. Like, if your metabolism is on the floor, like, and this, I'm just using it, I'm saying on the floor because it's zero. Meaning you're not, when you eat something, it's literally turning into fat. Like, nothing is moving, nothing is helping it. Your system is not helping it to burn anything off. So, in someone that's smaller, when their system gets introduced to whatever the food is, their system kicks into gear to start burning that off. Well, if your metabolism is on the floor, then you just gain weight, baby. So, I learned that, and that was really key, though, because I'm like, all these years, I had no idea. And had I known that, I would have been able to do something about it. But at the same time, was I really? Because I was still going through, child. So, learning, and that's what I want to tell people, like, make sure that you get into healing, but you also get your metabolism checked. Actually go get tested to see what's going on with you, if there's a hormonal imbalance, and go get tested to see if your metabolism was on the flow like mine was, child. My metabolism was on the flow, okay? I'm just saying it was at zero. But, so, going back, like, once I was armed with that information, then I was able to really do something different. And for me, it's been a diet thing. It has not been any working out, because there was some other challenges due, like, so in 2020, for most of you who know, who've been on these conversations, when I got COVID, my sister passed. Like, we all had COVID up in here, and my sister passed, and all of this. Like, I was hospitalized 2 days later, and there was issues going on with my heart from COVID. Like, I couldn't walk from my bedroom to my bathroom, and my bedroom and my bathroom is right there together. I couldn't do anything. I was just going through it, child. So it has been a struggle, and I don't talk about it. For the last 3 years, it was a struggle to do a lot of things that I could do before, prior to COVID. So this time I was like, let me get the weight down by eating differently rather than doing the workouts, because I don't want to pass out, child. So that's what I did. Me and God was on our journey. I was talking to him, praying. I'm asking for discipline. This is the thing. You got to ask for discipline. So I'm giving y'all some key nuggets on what I've been doing. I'm still going through the journey. But, yeah, if you gonna do this as a you and God journey, then you gotta ask for discipline. You also have to, and this gonna sound real drastic, but die to your flesh. Because you gonna want the snacks, you gonna want all of the stuff that you can't have, especially in the beginning. It's gonna be a struggle. You gonna want all the restaurant food, and you might not even been eating that stuff, but a craving a creep up real quick, and you gonna want it. Okay, so I do pray for that daily, actually, and he has given me that. And I'm so grateful. Like, I'm grateful that I'm able to share this, because I know that there are a lot of people that carry a lot of weight from childhood and from situations and life and all of these different things. And I was one of them. And when I started to heal internally, it was amazing. Like, I started to look at life different. And a lot of people don't really understand, like, your healing is really important. It's really the key to your life, like having a full life, but also living. Because if you're constantly in a negative state, or you're constantly rehashing all of the things that have happened to you, you're going to have health issues, because you're not feeding your body anything but negativity. And your body actually internalizes and holds on to all of the things that are negative, unless you decide to do something different. And so, excuse me, I done drank so much water, child. I done drank a gang of water. But your body is amazing. Like, it's really resilient, and it's like you have to get yourself out of a negative space you got to get yourself out of a negative space in order for you to move forward in your fullness, if that makes sense. A lot of the times we can't accomplish anything when we are bogged down with a lot of issues and thinking about all of the things that we have gone through and experienced, carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. And this is the other thing. I don't necessarily like the whole strong woman thing, because a lot of women have been through a lot of stuff. Not discounting what men have been through, because men go through stuff. But I can only speak from a woman's point of view. And what I'm saying is that when you try to carry everything and everyone, a lot of the times you don't have time to focus on yourself. You carrying everything is how you build that strong muscle, and it's not necessarily good, because then you wind up internalizing all of the things that are happening to you in life. You wind up not focusing on you as a person, like healing yourself and becoming a better version of you. You wind up just masking it with other things, maybe other people, maybe putting all your energy into your kids, maybe joining like a whole bunch of groups, or doing like going out and just doing a bunch of stuff and not necessarily dealing with you. Now, you might have the best social life in the world, but there are people that had a greater social life and go home, child, crying and boo-hooing because they're, dealing with whatever they're dealing with. And so that whole, I just don't like that when people are like, you're so strong. And it's not, that's God. Like, I'm just going to be all the way 100 because I even talked about it from the age of 5 to in my 20s. I was like having suicidal thoughts. It was like I was trying to figure out a way how to do it, what to do. All types of craziness was going through my mind because I had been through so much. And I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but and there's a lot of people that deal with that. There are a lot of people that deal with suicidal thoughts and never talk about it. It's really like a silent killer in real life because it's people that think about it for many, many years and then just decide to go do it. I think that the only reason why I didn't go through with it is because God was like, no, I got a greater purpose for you. But I'm telling you, like, I tried taking pills, child, I threw up. It just was not. I was like, God, why am I still here? Is you gonna take me today? Like, it was, child, I'm just saying, being honest, I was ready to go. And so he was like, no, it's not your time. I got things for you to do, whatever. Like, that's really what it is because I'm still here and, I'm 38. This started when I was 5. Very long time, right? So I know that there are a lot of people and there are kids who actually have these same thoughts. And when you were hearing about kids that were committing suicide, people was just so devastated. I wasn't surprised. That's the thing. Like, I wasn't surprised because people think that kids don't deal with nothing. But if we all examine our childhood, we dealt with something. Maybe it was that your parents wasn't there. Maybe it was that you dealt with bullying. Maybe you dealt with body shaming. Maybe you dealt with some type of abuse. Maybe you dealt with some type of neglect. Like, I can keep going. And maybe you wasn't protected. And then, maybe you grew up in like the foster care system. Like, there, I could keep going. But I'm just saying, kids deal with a lot of different stuff. The other part is that if parents are going through something, kids usually pick up on what's going on. They not silly. Like, they understand. Trust and believe me. I used to be a teacher, and them kids was telling all the tea on their parents, and they was little people, and they had enough words to tell all the business. They moves was changing. When parents was going through divorce, those moves was changing. Okay? The kids became more violent. And when I say violent, they would start hitting their classmates. They were angry. When their parents was going through stuff, they was going through it too. So don't think that your kids don't be going through nothing, because child, they do. If you examine your own life and what was going on in your childhood, just think it's a possibility that your child could be dealing with the same thing. It's very possible. So it's a lot of our generation really needs to get in tune with the kids, with our children. I don't have kids, but I've been a teacher for a very long time, and I help raise my siblings, and I've been through a lot. So I'm just telling you from experience, kids be going through, child. So y'all really need to connect to your children and find out what it really is, like what's really going on, because a lot of times kids are not going to tell you what's going on with them. They're going to be having whole real life situations and not even open their mouth. And so you won't find out until they grown but adults. Like, all the stuff that I went through, my parents didn't know, and my dad died when I was 15. And I was a daddy's girl. I internalized that. And I didn't show no emotions, but every night I was crying myself to sleep for years with that. And nobody knew that. Nobody. because I'm good at hiding. I've always been good at that, like hiding my emotions. And I think this going through the healing process though, I show more emotions. I communicate more. I'll tell you more of what I'm feeling. Before that, that was not a thing. I would just internalize it, be angry. You talk to me, I'm gonna bite your head off. So even when I see people that's aggressive, I'm like, what's going on with them? It has changed my whole thought process, especially going through my own journey of healing. It makes me look at people differently. But child, get in tune with your kids. I said all that to say, get in tune with your kids and what's going on with them. Do not think that they're not going through anything at all, because they will be carrying the weight of the world and in their little bodies, and it will materialize into something else, whether it is weight gain, whether it is, because drug addiction does not start all the time when we grown. It be kids getting hooked on drugs too. So I'm just saying, make sure that you connect with your children, because a lot of issues start from childhood. So back to that whole strong woman complex. Life be lifing for a lot of women, and a lot of women have dealt with abuse, have been raped, have been mishandled, misused, and all of these different things. And so they had to be strong in order to life, like in order to function. And it's actually functioning in your dysfunction. And so you wind up carrying this load. And here's the thing, a lot of black men will say, black women are so angry and hard to get along with and all of this stuff. And it's like, did you ever once stop and ask that black woman what she done been through? Because a lot of black women have dealt with sexual abuse. I want to say 1 out of 4 is the statistics. Is it 1 out of 4? It's something like that. And that has dealt with that. And so if you have gone through that, it makes you hard. It makes you question everybody in yourself. And for some, you wind up turning to other substances. For others, you eat. For others, you do different things. So that whole strong woman thing, I don't really care for it, because that means that woman done been through hell and back, and that's what made her have all of this strength. And so when guys have been like, you're so strong, I'm like, child, you don't know the hell I done walked through. So I don't care for that. Phrase, strong woman. But not to discount what men go through. Like, men go through a lot of stuff, and it's very silent. And that's the other part. Like, when I've talked to men who are heavy, they have dealt with a lot of stuff, and it stems from their household and not having their father. So rejection. Maybe their mother's not there as well. So that's a double whammy. Maybe they were raised by grandparents. I've heard different scenarios. And so it's all the same thing, though. You are internalizing and carrying this weight and this burden for many, many years. And you're never tapping into your healing. And for men, we in our society do not say to men, you need to heal. Or we don't give them the space to actually heal. And this is the part. You want a man to be a good husband. You want him to function in society. But then you don't give him the space or the room to actually talk about what he's dealing with on the inside of him. Or celebrate milestones in his life. Or really just talk about just real life stuff, right? So we in our society, we expect men to be strong automatically, but how do they get there without the proper guidance? It's like, how do you learn how to ride a bike if you ain't never been shown how to do it, right? It's the same type of setup. A lot of them grew up without fathers in their homes, and then, or they had a father that was inconsistent. Maybe he was like, I'm coming, and then didn't show up. Or maybe, he promised something and didn't deliver, and now you disappointed. You trying to figure out why he was not around. You're dealing with the rejection, and for many years you like, okay, what's wrong with me? And don't let it be a situation where that father gets married and have kids, and now you're looking like, okay, well, how can he go out and have kids with someone else, and he's not here with me? So a lot of men have dealt with that as boys, and then they grow up as men who have internalized so much because they didn't have an outlet, and for some it turns into a weight issue. Even in dating, where you've had a lot of heartbreak, where you've dealt with, men deal with rejection, men deal with the same. I don't even understand why women don't think that men deal with the same type of things. Men don't verbalize it. Women have been allowed to verbalize, oh, such and such and I broke up, and then we might cry for a week. Some be crying for a month. I don't know. Some might go longer than that. But, after a week, child, you got to get up. But, go through the heartbreak. Women are able to verbalize it. Men usually are not. And it's so funny because I came across the Dear Future Wifey podcast with Lateris R. Whitfield. Like, I actually watch him faithfully, probably within the last few months. But that podcast really gets into the perspective of a man. And he talked about his situation that recently happened with the girl that he wound up in a relationship. They went to premarital counseling, and then it didn't work out. When I tell you, his vulnerability was refreshing because we don't get to see that. And for me, I actually like when a man is vulnerable enough to express what is really going on, because that means you are human. You're getting it out in a healthy way. To me, I'm like, okay, you're healthy enough to express what you're dealing with, express like what's really going on. You can identify it, and you're able to show that in a healthy manner rather than running around here being angry and trying to get back at all of the people that done did something to you. So for me, him on that big old platform that he has, he was, crying about the situation and talking about all of the things and how the relationship started and how it ended. And he was really devastated. And I'm like, more men need to talk about this. More men need to really be honest about that. And we need to allow that, because it's very healthy to have the dialogue, because then it comes out into hate speech. Like, you will have like these different podcasters, these men who act like they don't like women, but they want a whole woman. And I'm like, you sitting here bashing black women, but yet you want a woman, and you want a woman that's gonna do all of this, but you can't even talk to nobody like you got sense. Like, bruh, like, no, this is not finna happen like that. So, but that's because that man hasn't, I feel like he's been silenced, and his emotions have not been validated, or he might have felt like he couldn't say anything. And then now it comes out in the form of hate, because some black woman did something to him, maybe his first love, maybe even his mama. There are a lot of men that are carrying around mommy issues. There are a lot of men who are carrying around daddy issues. You have a lot of men that did not have both parents in the household at all and was raised by grandparents. So that's carrying a lot, and you're going into adulthood and trying to date and be with someone on a romantic level, but you have all of these things underneath that you're dealing with. And it always winds up being a toxic situation when you have not addressed what's going on with you. And while, women have really made strides in going to get counseling, we still need, to get it together, because all of this men got to do this, that, and the third, and you not doing this, that, and the third, and you thinking that you're going to get something that you're not reciprocating. Men do it too. All of this non-reciprocation, but you want all of these things. You have to. I say this on every video that I have done for the last 2 years, because I've been doing this for 2 years. You can go on my YouTube channel, Tiana Nichelle the Visionary, and you can see previous videos on dating when I talk about you cannot expect to be with someone that you're not giving the same things to. Like, you can't want somebody to be all of these things that you're not, do all of these things that you're not. If you're not willing to do it, then you don't need it. You got to become what you want. And if you're not becoming what you want, you need to stop. So, but if you want somebody that's healed, you yourself has to be healed. And that was the thing. Like, I had gotten into relationships, and I'm using myself. I don't want to necessarily talk about other people's situations on this live. I'm just going to be transparent about my own journey, because I know that other people have dealt with this. There are people that I have talked to personally that have gone through these different situations, but I'm just really speaking from my experience, where I was dating and being in an unhealthy space. If you are not healed and you are dating, you run the risk of being in a toxic relationship with someone because both of y'all are not healed, or self-sabotaging because you're not healed and they are. And that was I was doing both. Okay. So once I got intentional about my healing, I actually doubled back to my exes and apologized for my behavior, because I was mean. I was like, you ain't about to tell me to do nothing. I was just not nice. And I'm not going to say every last one of them was nice, but I'm just going to say I was only speaking on the part that I played. I had guys that proposed to me, and I was just like, run, child, run. I done been proposed to a lot of times. I done been engaged a few times, and I ran. And so it was because I was not healed. Yeah, I was not. And I thought that marriage was like a whole control thing, where he'll like control me and I didn't want to be controlled. I went through a whole thing. Like, I was literally engaged in 2010 and having a whole meltdown. A literal meltdown. Like, he's like, go ahead and plan it. And this was like January 2010. Go ahead and plan it. How much is this going to cost? And I was like, I was hyperventilating, y'all. I was out here like, like, I felt like I couldn't breathe, because it just felt like life was going to be over. It was just a lot of different things, but I was not healed. I hadn't addressed the issues that was going on with me. And for me, I did not like not having control. That was the part. Because I had been through so much that if I couldn't control it, it wasn't happening. Now, this last engagement, that ended in 2019, it was a different type of situation. I had gotten into my healed space, and I winded up engaged to somebody that was unhealed. So that's why I'm able to talk about this, because I've had different experiences. And so he and I have since talked through a lot of different things and apologized for our parts. But when you you get healed, you can't link up with somebody that's unhealed, because it's gonna take you back a few steps, because you gonna lose your top, because they clowning like he was clowning, child. But you gonna wind up losing it and going off on that person, and you like, this is not even what I've been doing. You are disturbing my peace, sir. So you really got to use your discernment once you become healed. And that was something that I didn't really know to do at that point. I just was like, okay, he seems like a nice guy. He was doing all the right things, like flowers every day at my job, breakfast, bring me lunch. When I would get off, he'll walk me to my car. It was just a lot of, really, okay. It was just a lot of things that he was doing. And I was just like, okay, he's a nice dude. Maybe I should give him a chance. Gave him a chance. We got engaged 6 months later. And things just started happening. And that's when I realized that he was just not healed. And so, yeah. But I say all that to say, when you decide to heal yourself and address your issues, just be careful who you connect with, because if they're unhealed, it will set you back, and then you might have to go to a therapist. Because, child, we went to a whole few therapists, and I talked about this before. This dude was trying to finesse the doggone therapist. It was just, he making my head hurt, okay? But and I wasn't perfect, because when he would do stuff, instead of me being like, you know what, let me just go over here, I'd be like, nigga. And now I'm going back and forth with him and arguing and stuff. So just taking me clean out of my element. Now I'd be like, child, I'm gonna pray for you. You not even about to get me out of my character, because I ain't got time. So it's a difference. And I would disconnect quick. Like, before, I was running from relationships, because I was in relationships, and I would just dip. That is clearly unhealthy. Don't do that. Use your words. I was in my 20s, and I was doing shenanigans because I was not healed. I would dip, and they be looking like, where did you go? This is too much. Especially when you talking about meeting family and all types of meeting the kids. And I was like, Lord, that's a lot. So I'd be like, this not cool. It's not. Don't do that. Go get you some help. Because I literally had a guy that I went on a couple dates with come back to me. And it's crazy. Like, he came back like maybe early part of 2020, right before the pandemic hit, and was like, you know, you hurt my feelings. And I was looking like, what? So I'm like, dude, we only went on a couple dates. Like, how I hurt your feelings? And he was like, because we went out on a couple dates and I thought things were progressing, and then you basically was like, you couldn't go out with me anymore. And then when I talked to you again, you had gotten back with your ex. And I was like, you're right. You are very much so right. And I apologize. We sat down and we talked about it. And I'm like, okay. I was like, dude, I wasn't even over him. I was not even over my ex. I was like kind of waiting it out, because we had gotten into it and then broke up. And I was just like, I don't want to date nobody else. That was really what it was. I don't want to date nobody else. I want to be with my man. So that was the realization I had come to then. Okay, sir. But yeah, so I am saying all that to say, when you are not healed, don't go messing up nobody else's life because you're not healed. Go get you into some counseling. Go get it all out. Address all of the different issues. Tackle all the things. Unpack that stuff. And then get your Enjoy your time. And I would even say once you get healed, yeah, you can go out, you can hang out. I'm not saying go jump into a relationship, but to know that you truly are healed, you do have to know if you can actually date somebody. I always say test it out, because when you're not healed, somebody else will trigger something inside of you, and then you could be like, no, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. But you only went out for coffee. Let's just do the coffee. Let's just start with the coffee, child. But you do have to test it out and see if you truly are healed, because when you're not, that person will trigger something and they ain't even know. And it's not their fault. It's just that you still got some work to do. And healing is not an overnight journey. I'm going to say every day I work on myself. Every day I encourage myself. Every day I unpack some new stuff. And I might mess up. I'm not perfect. It's okay if you mess up. You are not perfect. But get yourself back together. Don't dwell on the past. Don't sit here having a pity party about what has happened to you. And this is the other thing. So let's just go back for a second. The weight that I carried was it started at the age of 5. So I dealt with being raped. And for some years, and then again when I was 17. I lost my dad, like I said previously. I lost my dad and I was 15. He actually died 6 days after my birthday, so my September 11th is a little bit different from everybody else's. And so there were a lot of different things that I was feeling. I hated everyone and everything. I was not nice. And I said this before, like, I would come across people and I would not talk to them. I would be mean mugging, all of this different stuff. I didn't trust people. I didn't even trust myself. It was just a lot that was going on. And yeah. So from there, like, I started off dating, because my dad was in my life until he died. So I was 15, like I said, and I was a daddy's girl. So I internalized that. All of the stuff that was happening, I internalized it. My parents didn't know. That's why I say talk to your kids. My parents didn't know, or really set them up in therapy, because they might tell a therapist before they tell you. But I had dealt with all of this stuff. My parents didn't know at that time. I was trying to figure out ways of how to get up out of here, especially when I was like 12 and 13. That 12 and 13 was really dark. I'm not going to lie. When my dad, so before my dad died, that 12, 13 mark was really dark in my mind. And then when he died at 15, it was really dark. Like, everything was like black. Like, I can remember, everything just felt dark. Like, I was even going to school, and this is something I was telling my mom the other day, because I was in high school, and I left, for the funeral and planning, and I was out of school for like maybe a week or so. When I came back, my teachers couldn't say boo to me. I was going off, got put out the class, child. They had sent me to the guidance counselor, was like, you need to talk about. I was like, I don't need to talk about nothing, because ain't nothing you gonna say to me gonna bring my daddy back or make any situation change. So I'm not talking to you. And I was just, child, I was just crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. I had a lot of craziness, but it was because I was hurting. So, yeah. Kids really need an outlet. But so from there, once I got into college, like, I didn't even want to go to college. This was kind of a forced thing. I talked about it before, and then once I got raped at 17, I was like, I don't want to go to school. I didn't want to do nothing. I actually messed up my freshman year of college. But I was also drinking. I started drinking in my senior year of high school. I was actually drinking, child. I had a friend that was like, "You want to try this?" And she put some liquor in my Coca-Cola bottle, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I was just like, "Oh, this make me feel like I was just like gone, like I was so relaxed." And after that, I just liked how that made me feel. So I was drinking. I was drinking in high school, my senior year, and then I started drinking a lot in college because I was masking. I was also super duper angry. So because in my mind, you couldn't do nothing to me that ain't already been done. So try me if you want to. Then fast forward, I wound up going. Here's the other part. I was still having those suicidal thoughts in college. At the time, I was dating somebody who he had his head on straight. Like, I call him, I say he was like daddy, because he'd be like, "What are you doing now?" Like, girl, get yourself together. Why do you gotta hang out with this person? Why are you doing this? Like, he was on my heels, and we was not even at the same school, child. So I needed that, but at the same time, I was like, man, he doing too much. Every time I talk to him, he wanna, ask me what I'm doing, but I was really in a not so good space. I was really, really hurting. So that's why I felt like he was like being a helicopter dad instead of my boyfriend. But in the end, it was necessary because he stopped me from doing a lot of stuff that I could have done. And that's really good, because I would be having these thoughts, and I'm like, and this was a thing, like, I would go outside because I would be in a room, like, really going through in my mind and replaying the things that have happened to me. So I would literally go outside and be walking in the rain and just soaking wet. And then I would come back in, and then he would talk to me. And it was like a whole, like, therapeutic situation. But I was still, like, I was in turmoil. So fast forward, go get done with college. I transferred to another school so I can get my life together, child. Because he was like, "What are you doing? You need to get it together." So I was like, "Yes, you're right. Get yourself together." Decided to go to different schools, started over, graduated. Once I graduated, I started dating. When I dated this person who I had been friends with since I was 15, it became a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. So we were together, and he was abusive. So here we are. I done dated my best friend, and we was 15 together, and I'm 20 something, and he was abusive. So it sent me back, because I spazzed out, child. Like, it was just that last time your girl saw black, and I just went to swinging, and I just spazzed out. I don't even know what happened, and I was done. And that's what really made me be like, I don't want no relationships. Like, we can go out, we can hang out. It really made me be like, I don't want nobody to control me. That's where that part really came from in my 20s. Like, I don't need you to try to control me. I can't marry nobody, because then they gonna be trying to, make me do what they want me to do. Now I'm stuck. So it was just a lot of stuff that was going on in my head that nobody knew about. And I always questioned whether or not I could trust people. That was my biggest thing, because once you've been violated in that manner of either being molested, being raped, or being abused physically, then you question everything. And I had all of that. So I couldn't trust nobody. And it was just like, whatever. And I would tell, like, I would tell, I remember this one guy, he was older than me, and he was like, man, I want to take you out, whatever. I was like, don't introduce me to no family, no kids. We not getting a relationship. Like, I gave him a whole spiel, child. He was like, who done made you mad? And I was just like, just don't do it. And what did he do? On our first date, he took me to meet his doggone mama, his sisters. Child, I was like, and then he wound up blowing my phone up, right? And so I was just not taking calls, okay? Because you did exactly what I asked you not to do. And this is being unhealed. You do goofy stuff like this because I should have said, you know, I asked you not to because I don't think we're at that place. And you did it anyway, so you're not respecting my boundaries. But then I didn't have the language to do that. For me, it was just, let me show you by my actions, and I would disappear. I'm like good at disappearing. I don't do that now. I haven't done that in a very long time, child. Because your girl has learned to use her words. But when you're not healed, you make silly decisions. And so that is why it's very important for you to heal, because it jacked him up because he thought, okay, what did I do wrong? And it wasn't that he necessarily did anything wrong per se in a normal situation. It might have been something that he would do just to see, like, let me vet her and see how she would be around my parents or whatever, or my family. But for me, I'm like, I specifically asked you not to introduce me to no family members. And on our first date, you introduced me to your whole family. Like, I met aunts, and I was looking like, what is going on here? Bye. So, I had to apologize for that too, child. So, also taking on responsibility. I am the oldest sibling in my house, and when my dad died, I helped my mom, like, with my siblings. So, even at school, coming home to be with them on the weekend and all of that kind of stuff, that's what was going on. When I graduated from school, I took on a lot of responsibility, and I was even in school again. So being in school, helping my mom with my siblings. One of my siblings had Down syndrome. She passed, actually, my sister passed in 2020. And so just helping, like, being mommy number 2 is what was going on. And I was carrying that weight for a while, and that was pretty heavy, because that's a lot for a kid to do. And there are kids out there that carry that weight. They carry a lot of the responsibility, making sure homework is done, making sure food is cooked so, you know, your siblings can eat. You know, doing things with your siblings, just taking on a responsibility that's really greater than yours. And it's really meant for a parent, not for a child, because we don't have any parenting skills. Like, that wasn't something that God necessarily equipped us with at that moment in time. Like, he equipped us to be in that role. I believe that, like, in order to have done that, he has equipped me, in a sense, to be able to take on responsibility. So now I am 38, and I can run a whole household because I know how to run a household now. Like, and I know how to do a lot of different things. Before my dad died, he taught me how to put stuff together. Like, I learned a lot of different things, mowing the lawn and using snow blowers and all of this different drills and fixing things and all of that kind of stuff. So I literally learned how to do that, plus take care of kids and making sure stuff was done and all of that kind of stuff. So learn how to balance a household, you know, and so it has just made me stronger in that way, but it wasn't something that I asked for. So with that, like, taking on that type of responsibility actually contributed to my weight because I would find comfort in eating snacks. Like, I would find comfort in just eating, chips with cheese and all that kind of stuff. And like my highs, I really didn't have to eat a meal. I could really sit and just snack all day. And it wasn't healthy. And it was just like, okay, this is just for me. I understand that this being just for me is killing me, okay? So, especially you eating that every day. It's not like if you eat it like once every blue moon or whatever, okay, cool. But eating it every single day, child, that's a problem. That's a major problem. And that's what I was doing even as a kid. I'm not going to say small kid because my mom was controlling it. But once I became a teenager and I was in high school, and I'm going to tell you, I gained a lot of weight between my senior year of high school through college. So I had ballooned. Once I got out of college and I went through that abuse for that, and it was a short period of time because I was just out. Like, after, I want to say it was like maybe the third time I was gone. I spazzed out, blacked out, and then I was out. So, and he came back, he apologized, whatever. We in a different space and place now, but it took a while to get to this place where I'm not angry like I would try to, because we tried dating years after that, and I was literally trying to get him back for everything he had done to me, like, with my words. So that's when you're not healed, child. I would just spaz out on him, and he would just be looking like, and I'm like, you did this. And that would always be my excuse. You created this monster, so you got to deal with it. That is not cool. That is a hot mess. That's a real hot mess. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because even though that person wronged you, and this is the other part, even if somebody wrongs you, you do not have the right to turn around and then use your anger to abuse them. It's not okay. And that's what I did. And he kind of got tired of it. We wound up breaking up, and we hashed everything out after the fact. But like, it was, and I had to apologize for my part. He had already apologized like a gazillion times for what he did, but I just felt like I just need to make you feel what I feel, because I still feel it. That's how I was feeling it. But so dealing with that, it just made me hard, and I was just ballooning. And then that's when I started dating guys who were hood. We gonna leave it like that. Hood. And because I thought that's what I needed. I went from nice guys that had their heads on straight, that were really like stable and this, that, and the other. And I was like, let me see what this is, because I need to feel protected. That is so unhealthy, and a lot of women do it. Y'all do it now. Stop it. Because here's the thing, you get with that man, but you're going to need protection from that man. He might be protecting you from the world, but you're going to need protection from him and his situation. So that will be a no. Like, that is not cool. To be dating those types of dudes, because you don't know what the heck they in, and you don't know what he going to have you into. Don't do it. Don't do it. Get yourself together. Get yourself all the way together so that you can be with somebody that's healthy. You can understand what a healthy dynamic is, because all of that is very dysfunctional. A hood guy, a drug dealer, none of them can help you, and none of them are going to be able to help you if they behind bars are dead. And I dealt with both. That's all I'm going to say on that. Don't do it. So from that, weight ballooned up. Then had an abortion. Child, my weight was off the meters after that because I dealt with some one when I did that abortion. I did two. The second one, I winded up almost dying from, and then other issues arise. So I winded up gaining weight. So that's when I showed that picture at my highest 415. Some years later, I winded up coming down a little bit, and was around like the 380 mark, and kind of stayed there for a while. And then in 2015, that's where you all saw, a lot of people saw my where I had gone on this health journey in 2015, and it was just to really look cute for my graduation, and I wound up losing weight by working out, and then I wound up gaining that weight right back because it wasn't about being intentional about my health. It was like, I need to work out so that I can look cute in my dress. Don't do that either because you still not tackling what the issues that got you to this point. And so once I started to look at, okay, what is it that I need to address with me? What is really going on with me at my core? Child, you are dealing with abuse. It made you feel, like you can't trust. It made you feel like you had to do all of this and you weren't enough and all this different things. So I had to unpack that. Then I unpacked it with a therapist and, went through the whole spiel or whatever and got myself together. And so fast forward, the pandemic happened. I had lost some weight and gained weight during the pandemic and lost my sister in the process. So the weight was, creeping back. So by all was said and done, by 2021, I was back at the 380 mark. But I was between 370 and 380 and going back and forth. And so last year, and by this time I had grieved my sister, began really, I was really, really close to God at that point. That was the other part. My relationship with God was every day I was talking to him, every day I was praying, I was reading, and I was actually getting clarity on some stuff. It was just a whole thing, and I was like, okay. So then it was like, okay, now that you're at this place, God was like, it's time for you to get rid of that weight. You have, healed. You have forgiven and been forgiven. You have gone through different things, renewing your mind, transforming your inside. Now it's time to transform yourself on the outside. So I was like, okay, this is a me and God journey. We gonna do this. I actually got, he told me exactly what to eat, what I needed to eat, and the weight started coming off. I had gone to a weight loss doctor in the beginning, and I didn't really care for her, so I left. And then winded up going to another one that was recommended by a friend, and he was trying to give me all of this different stuff, and I was like, nah, that's okay. And then finally around August last year, he had given me this type 2 diabetes medication that they trying out for weight loss. I don't know if y'all have heard about Mounjaro. And that stuff had my stomach hurting. I was moaning because my back was hurt. It was a lot. Then he gave me something else. I had a whole eczema flare up, child. I was like, I'm not doing this. So I was like, God, okay. I was not told the dude. I'm like, dude, I can't do this, doc. I can't. And he was like, oh, well, you can continue. You've had so much success. You lost 10 pounds in a month, whatever. I was like, no, I done had a whole flare up. I'm not, no. So fast forward, I winded up, just diet, just diet, just diet, just changing what I ate and doing it consistently. Child, you can season your vegetables, just don't salt them. You can add the onion powder, the garlic powder, if you want to put a little smoky flavor to it, get you some smoked paprika, get you some chicken broth and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I learned how to really like flavor up my food with the seasonings without having a whole bunch of salt. And I love it. I wasn't eating out. It just became a thing. And every day, like I said, I asked for discipline. And I asked God to help me, walk me through this journey. And I know for many who are struggling, I hope that you pray to have discipline, that you pray for direction as you go through your journey, and that you really address the issues that are inside of you that you might be struggling with, and actually go heal yourself so that you can be a better version of yourself, so you can love on yourself even more, because that's actually how you show love to yourself. I never really understood that when people would say that taking care of you is how you show love to yourself. I was like, what is that? But for real, like, when you take care of yourself, you showing yourself that you love yourself, because it's like, how can you love somebody else if you don't even love yourself? And I'm sorry for everybody that done came in the room and I have not said hello, guys. So, you really have to deal with the internal struggles that you have, the internal hurts and pains and all of those things, so that you can love on yourself a little bit more, and then be able to receive love in return, because you so deserve it. You so deserve to be healthy. You deserve to have a more fulfilling life. You deserve a love that will just love your socks off. You deserve the world, and it starts with you releasing the weight that you're carrying on your shoulders, so that you can get the weight, your physical weight down, the weight of your mind, your heart, and your emotions down. And you can just be the best version of you. Like, it's so amazing. And even you gonna be tested. Ain't nothing perfect. I'm gonna just say that. When you go through this journey, you gonna be tested. You are not gonna do things perfectly. Don't make people think, like, people will be like, oh, you think you perfect. No, I'm not. You think I'm perfect, but no, I'm not. But your journey is not going to be perfect. It's not for you to be perfect. It's just for you to get yourself together so that you can be better for yourself. Learning how to just deal with certain things, and then you would start addressing things differently. You won't feel the need to respond to every single thing. You won't feel the need to be angry all the time. You will learn how to talk through things. You might even tolerate a little bit more. And then for some, you might be like, don't mess up my peace. It's time for you to get the boots. And if that means not responding to certain people, not doing things with certain people, not hanging out with the people that you used to hang out with, don't feel bad for making a decision to put you first in that regard. You might have to disconnect from a lot of people in order for you to be able to heal properly and have the peace that you need in order to do it, because you cannot heal in a toxic environment. I said what I said, and I said it. If you got toxicity going on in your house, it's going to be hard to get your healing on. So you got to create a space in your home that is not toxic, that is peaceful. You have to create space in your life of peace. You got to be intentional about being peaceful, even when life is life, and even when the storms come. And you might jump, you might be, somebody might have pushed a button or two one of them days, and you might, was ready to bing, you know what I mean? But you was like, God, help me not beat them up, because I'm ready to mop the floor with them. And them trying to be a different person. Let's just talk about it. So just really get intentional about healing yourself from the hurt and the pain that you have experienced. You really deserve it. You deserve to be really, really happy and to just have so much joy. Yeah, you deserve it. And so, with that, let me see. I'm just going to say that I want you all to make sure that you connect with me. Follow me on my social media platforms. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tiana Nichelle, or you can put in Crown Convos with Tiana Nichelle. It'll get you there. Tiana Nichelle, the Visionary. I'm sorry. Let me be specific. You can also, I have these shirts, Empowered by God. You can get one of these, baby, because that's who will be empowering me to do a lot of what I do, to get me together. I've been walking with him, talking with him, child. It's been amazing. It ain't been easy, but it's been amazing. It has really shown me a lot about myself. It has helped me have better relationships with people, communicate better. I cannot believe that I'm at this place, but I'm at this place. So, cop you a shirt or two. Cop you one. You know what I'm saying? Cop you a shirt. What else? Download my app, Empower Society, in your Google Play, your Apple App Store. Get you some daily motivation. If you are a family that have children, a child or children, because I know that there are some families that have multiple children with Down syndrome or other abilities, please download the app to get a directory of services and resources. We are also kicking off the supply drive. We already started, child. Check the videos. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post the video from me picking up some school supplies. You can actually, if you would like to donate, go to empowersociety21.org and you can donate. What else? If you would like to help with the school supply drive, we're actually going to be doing a drive from July to August. So, if you would like to help distribute or, come out and encourage or whatever, you can hit me up if you would like to be a part of the back to school supply drive. We're actually doing hygiene products starting in July as well. So, child, if you want to help, if you want to donate, go ahead, empowersociety21.org, or just hit that you hit me in the DMs and say, hey, I want to volunteer. Hey, I have donations. If you have donations that need to be picked up, you have to contact me, because I can pick up the donations, but we will have to arrange that. Also, I do accept monetary donations. You can go on the website, Empower Society 21, to do the donations for the supply drive and for the hygiene, because I'm giving away hygiene products to, there are individuals with disabilities who are in solo homes, residential facilities, however you want to phrase it, that need different items. So I would like to bless them with those items. There are actually families who are in need. So I want to bless them with other items. So we're going to be getting into the furniture and things like that. Because I've already been in contact with people who can give those things and household items. So want to be able to bless other people. Let's see, what else? If you have any questions or you would like a topic to be talked about, you want to come on the live, hit me up. And let's see. Like my brain got a whole lot of stuff going through it right now. Yeah. So, if there is anything that you might have an idea about, as far as these topics are concerned, make sure you hit your girl up. And for prior topics, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, I have not been promoting my YouTube channel. Child has been up for a minute. So go there, subscribe, watch previous videos. Yeah. And I thank you for being a part of this conversation, for watching, for those who have been with me from the beginning. I thank you for those who have come on here, that have had conversations, have talked about your views and opinions. I don't necessarily talk about relationships all the time. That has been a hot topic, so I did talk about that for a while, but I also talk about social issues. So if you are one that wants to highlight a social issue, go ahead and give it to me, child. If you want to come on here, yeah, you can do that too. So with that, get yourself into some healing so you don't have to carry so much weight. If you would like to know, this is the other part. So before I had started the last part of my journey, because like I said in my post yesterday, that I had hit a plateau, and got a download, like a reminder from God that, hey, hit up the neuropathic doctor. Did that, and got into a program, and when I tell you, in 4 weeks I've lost over 18 pounds in 4 weeks, and it's still falling off. So your girl again, let me go over these stats before I get off. From last year to this year, I done lost over 82 pounds. And from my highest weight to now, it's been 117 pounds. So I'm actually proud of that. I'm actually proud. But I still have a ways to go. So I want you I wanted to encourage whoever's listening, no matter where you are in your journey, and even if it's not weight, maybe you're struggling with something else. Maybe you're struggling with some type of addiction. In order to get yourself out of addiction mode, you have to address the pain that you're in internally and heal that pain in order for you to start to remove that thing from your life, whatever that addiction is. But yeah, The weight you carry is the weight you carry. Because for a lot of us, we all chunky out here. It's a lot of chunky folks out here in these streets. So that just tells you the state of what people are really going through. Like, there's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, and they don't even realize it because they've been functioning in it for so long. So I just want everybody to get into some healing, to be better, become a better version of themselves, so you can be better for whatever whoever your partner is, so you can be better to to yourself. Let's start there. To be a better to yourself. Be a better version of yourself. Love on you, baby. Love on you. Okay. What else? It was something else I was about to say. Also, cultivating healthier relationships with your kids, your family, your friends. That part. It will change drastically once you start healing. So with that is my time, because I have been on here longer than I expected. But I actually wanted to walk you through some things because I want you to know that you're not alone, and that even if you need, I'm just gonna say, if you need any type of because people have reached out to me in my DMs and my inboxes and ask for advice and different things. And so if you feel that that's what that you just need a little understanding, or if you want to find out what I'm doing, because actually I next week I'll probably come on here and give you all the news of what's happening with that program and what's going on. We'll get into it next week though. But if you want to know, you are already like curious about what the program is, that guy, let me tell you, last week I lost 8 pounds in 1 week. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. So it works very much so. So if you want to find out and you want to know what this doctor is, she's a naturopathic doctor. It's a program. It's 6 weeks, and yeah, it's only 6 weeks of your life, baby. You will have the rest of your life to look good, to try to be just a healthier version, okay? You're gonna be looking good. That's all I have to say. Because when I hit that plateau, it just made me feel some type of way. And then when I started that program, maybe when it fell off, I was like 8 pounds in 1 week. Y'all diets do not. Y'all will go to the gym and be pumping iron and will not lose 1 pound in 1 week. So all I'm gonna tell you is get in tune with the program. That's all I'm gonna say. Because actually, you will lose pounds and inches. Your blood pressure, now, I'm not on any blood pressure medication or anything, but it does fluctuate. Your blood pressure will be better. Your overall health will be better. Everything is going to be better. And I put my seal of approval on that one. Everything's going to be better. So, and I have 2 more weeks. So, I'm going to come back, actually, 1 more week. I just got into week 5. So, I'm going to come back on here, and I will tell you where we at with it. So, with that, I will see you next week. I'm actually going to post this on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch this to its entirety on YouTube. Tiana Nichelle the Visionary, or hit Crown Convos with Tiana Nichelle, and you will be able to access all of it. Please subscribe, share. If there's other topics on there, please share them, and share this with somebody that needs this. Make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms. Like I said, I will give you your encouragement, your empowerment, your all that. So, with that, I will see you later. Have a great evening.